bright lights, and you're gonna set my soul. Set my soul on fire. All right, got to plug this thing in. Hold on. Whoop. There's old living the devil may care, and I'm just a devil with love. Las Vegas. Volume up. Well, welcome to Place Your Bet, everybody! How's it going? Today's show is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind for less than $1 a day. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, and even contracts given to you that you just don't understand. Plus a whole lot more. Call Legal Shield right now at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Again, 213-245-1305. Or visit them online at nocourt.us. Oh boy. All right, here with Sal the Bookmaker. Yes. And we had quite an afternoon today. Sal and Tommy T were hanging out before the show. Before Sal's first show, we had quite an afternoon today.
There was a bowling bonanza.
We bowled today for the first time in years.
Right.
You know, the wife was a little upset. I was getting text messages like, "How are you bowling without me?" Because that bowling with the wife, that's her thing.
All right.
She that's the one game she can still beat me at.
Oh.
So
okay. All right.
So you know, today, of course, the first ball I throw down the lane, I get a strike, and then I told you that might be the only strike I get all day. But we'll get a little applause break there for the first strike of the day.
All right. Got to put our Schmitzicle back in shape. Because Nate Schmidt was AWOL for a minute. All right, now he's back.
Yeah, it seems like he's been AWOL from the team, and they've been struggling against some of the top competition in the Western Conference the last few weeks.
They've been on All-Star break basically for the last week or so, week and a half.
And then they went on All-Star break like a week and a half before the All-Star break, it seemed like. They lost some tough games there, you know. I mean, not playing
look, it's
terribly.
going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Look, the trade deadline's coming up, and they're going to be buyers. They're going to be buyers who are looking for some help on the power play, and I think they're also looking for some help on the blue line.
Okay, so when you say the power play, what are you referring to? A wing, a center? Like, what are you referring to?
Well, I think they're going to need some traffic in front.
Okay.
They need somebody to stand in front and take some shots.
Okay.
Right? And you need someone to be the screen. Because you can't just go about your business and keep your five guys moving and rotating. That's fine, but the fact is, you got to screen the goalie. If the goalie gets a clean look, what's going to happen? The goalie's going to stop the shots.
Especially goalies, especially top flight goalies.
Right.
There are certain goalies that you're not going to score on them unless there is traffic. I know that was one of Jonathan Quick's calling cards. Is the only way you could score on Quick back in the day was that you had to have traffic in front of him. Because if he sees it coming, he's stopping it, right?
Yeah, well, most of the guys in the NHL, they're already at that level, but there are guys like Quick who's above that level. Carey Price is above that level, and on and on and on.
And the guy at Tampa Bay, you like?
Vasilevsky's. Pekarine's that way.
Pekkarinen.
Yeah, and Tuukka Rask is like that when he's healthy.
Make sure you have a pause between his first and last name.
Hey, don't worry about that. But nonetheless, look, these guys are good. That's what they do. But let's face it, I think the Knights are going to be buyers at the trade deadline. But back to the bowling thing. Now, you're doing very well today, I must say.
Not bad. Not bad. I mean, you look like a professional bowler. You got a nice little hook in that ball right there.
You know, it's funny. Remember,
put it in a pocket.
Ian, who does the show here on Tuesday night right before us, he's like, hey, you guys going bowling? You know, maybe I'll go. But he goes, no, it won't be fair because I'll beat you.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I'm a league bowler. I'm like, all right, well, that's good. Well, what are you averaging? He goes, well, I'm averaging 155. And he was all smug about that. All right, that's good. I said, well, Ian, got any money? Got any money? Come meet us over there.
Well, he would have lost 2 out of 3 to you. He would have lost if he shot his average today.
Well, the first game is a warm-up game like anything else.
Yeah, you would have lost 2 or 3 because the second game you were almost 200.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been close. So he would have had to. The second game was amazing. You didn't have one open frame. Yeah. You had 2 strikes and 8 spares. Yeah. Impressive. Not one open frame.
And I left 3 7-pins. I mean, ringing 7 pins. Yeah. I mean, I buried the ball, but unfortunately, it's just what happens. Sometimes you leave a 7-pin.
But you got every single spare.
Hey, Luther's watching.
Luth.
Hey, Luther, aren't you supposed to be working right now?
No, he's on his way. He's probably on his way. What's today? Wednesday? Yeah, I think he's on his way. He might listen to us on the way to work. Yeah.
You still got a house?
The Luth has a house. The Luth has 2 houses.
He's got 2 houses, but he bet one and lost one, right?
Okay, so we stopped off at the sports book after we bowled today, and you and I just hung out there for a while and just looking at the board, just doing what we do, right? Yeah. Following the money, looking at the games,
not knowing nothing. Even people walking up to us,
guys coming up.
Do you know anything about this game? Nah, I don't know.
We don't know nothing. Yeah,
right.
And of course the guy coming up to us acted like he didn't know nothing, but he knew something too. It was like one guy acting dumb, and then we're acting dumber.
Right.
So
we were dumber.
It's funny. People were trying to figure out what we were doing, just standing there looking at the board, wondering what's going on, right?
Yeah.
In New York today.
Right.
And I like the Bulls in Miami. I like both of those games.
The Bulls. I mean, the Bulls are pigs right now, but the Bulls, something was stinking.
Piggies.
Something stunk in Miami. When I saw that, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'm sorry, man, but this is a Bulls game.
And I had Denver over New Orleans because New Orleans was on a back-to-back, and I figured that New Orleans they overshot their mark last night, beating Houston without Anthony Davis. Right. They didn't have Anthony Davis again tonight, and Denver beat them. Denver beat them and covered. So we were 3-0 in the NBA. I also liked Portland because, remarkably, that was a pick'em. Portland and Utah's a pick'em in Portland.
What's the score on that game?
Portland's up by 18, 47-29, early in the second period. 10 minutes left in the second period. So there's a ton of time to go in that one. But we're on it. Now we're
on it like Blue Bonnets.
We're switching our sights. We're switching our sights to basketball, and we're not missing a beat.
Just to show that we could pick basketball as well as football and hockey, and when baseball comes around, it's the same thing. I think baseball is the easiest one out of all of them.
Well, I haven't been through a baseball season with you. We worked the football season a couple years ago. We worked the football season this year because we started November 5th, and you can track us on placeyourbet.vegas. And you can go on our podcast, and you also can find us on iHeartRADIO. All of our podcasts are on iHeartRADIO, and you can find out all of the bets that we've been giving you. To this point, we're 48-4. I think Sal is 46-4, and I'm 2-0.
Who knows? It doesn't even matter at this point. What the hell's the difference?
Sal's got 46 wins. I got 2. But you know what?
Why are you tagging the 2 losses on me?
Well, no, the 4.
Why you
because I've only picked 2 games. I never pick any games. So I pick more games. Believe me, I'm going to get more losses. You picked 50 games. You won 46.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We didn't even count today's games. No. And I said the easiest pick on the board. When we were standing there at 3 p.m. at the sports book, I said the easiest pick on the board is George Washington over Fordham. Fordham smells. And they were only giving up a bucket. They ended up winning by 20, whatever the hell it was, 79-61 or something like that.
And when Sal says someone smells, he means they stink.
I mean, they are bad.
Stink.
Yeah, and they're bad. And that was the easiest pick. That was one of the ones I had in the round robin. And the other one that I had, I won't tell you the one in play right now. The other one was Villanova over DePaul, and DePaul is over their heads in the Big East. They don't belong in the Big East.
Whoa,
and there was 6.5.
Easy with the DePaul. It's DePaul. Whoa. Easy with the emphasis on D.
Don't worry about that. All right.
You in Detroit and DePaul, but you really got to nail that emphasis.
There's reason for that.
I know there is. I don't know what it is, but I know it goes way back.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Way back in your days.
Yeah.
Hey, this is unrelated, but there's just a quick little headline that the Patriots owner is open to extending Tom Brady's contract. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. I mean, really? Really?
It's pretty dumb.
I think that you should be asking Tom Brady if he's open to extending the owner's contract.
Did you hear what happened over in Pittsburgh on the televised? There was a newscast, and this was great. So there's some pretty disgruntled people over there in Pittsburgh against New England. Don't you think why, right?
Well,
they kept him out of a few Super Bowls and blah, blah, blah.
They're jealous.
Of course they are.
Jealous, yeah.
And so one of the newscasters or one of the producers on the caption on the lower third of the screen, where the name is, and it was a CBS affiliate over there. Anyway, so what they put under Tom Brady's name was cheater.
Yeah, I hate that.
Well, the funny thing is here in Pittsburgh, you would think, okay, the city of Pittsburgh's cool with it, they're fine with it. But no, CBS was not cool with it. And good for CBS. Give CBS a round of applause because you can't do that kind of crap. I don't care. It is bad business. And it was printed so it's libelous. Yeah. And if they said it was slanderous, of course.
I hate that stuff.
And, stupid Pittsburgh. And I thought it was hilarious that the guy got fired for doing it, too. So another big round of applause for CBS.
That's great.
For standing up.
Yeah.
Good for the eyeball.
It's just nonsensical.
But how ridiculous is that? It goes so far that even the newscasters are risking their jobs just to put a stupid caption on air.
They're still calling New England cheaters. Everyone's calling them cheaters because they can't beat them.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this earlier. I was talking to a guy in the previous show. And even though we went into the baseball, of course, because he's a former baseball player, World Series champion. And I said, let me ask you, man, do you think, let's face it, they have a kicking ball and they have a game ball?
Yes.
Now, people say, well, Tom Brady was deflating the ball, blah, 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 whatever. Well, don't you think that they possibly could have deflated a little bit? What are you doing, dude? Oh, that's kind of a crybaby with a little beat to it. Okay, I'll let you play that. Okay.
It's a little bit of the.
All right, put it down to about 10%.
Okay.
Okay, so you put it up a little bit.
Oh, I
That's
stopped
fine.
it. Okay.
All right, good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so here.
I took a shot.
That's fine. You took a shot. You're always taking a shot. All right, but the fact is,
sorry.
So New England takes the ball, and so they let some air out of the ball. Don't you think for a second that the kicker's balls are inflated a little bit more, and maybe to bring it down to a game ball? Maybe that's what that whole deflate thing was all about. And I think a lot of people are discounting that. It's a very good point. It's a valid point as well.
I agree it's a valid point, and I also know that as soon as that was happening, as soon as they came out and accused Tom Brady of having the balls deflated,
right,
there were a number of quarterbacks that came out and said, oh, I have the ball inflated or I have the ball deflated. All the quarterbacks make the balls to their own specs, and they're not all within the parameters.
Right.
So it wasn't like he wasn't the only one doing it.
Okay, but this isn't about him being the only one. This is about maybe this happened. Maybe they took a kicker ball and one for the kicking game, and maybe they took some air out of it because there's too much air in those. That's why those things fly forever.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, before 15 years ago, whatever the hell it was, those guys weren't on the opening kickoff. They weren't kicking it through the uprights. No, they moved the line up 5 yards, but that doesn't mean
the 30.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they're going to kick it through the uprights or into the seats. The fact is those balls are overinflated. Maybe they used one of those kicking balls for the game ball.
Well, that's why we saw in the Seattle-Dallas playoff game in the last couple minutes when the Cowboys were going to kick the extra point, and then at the last second, they decided to go for two. No, the Cowboys and Rams. They decided to go for two at the last second, and then the referee had to stop the play clock.
Right, make sure the right ball was
in. And they had to switch the ball out. And that's when one of the referees, Mike Pereira, said, well, they can't play the regular game with the kicking ball for that reason. You're right, for that reason. Mm-hmm. Because if Prescott went to throw the ball, he would have thrown it over the stadium because it's so inflated.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand is why don't they have one ball? Now, we went bowling today. What do we use? We used one ball.
One ball. Yep.
Right, you don't need 14 freaking bowling balls up there. You just need one ball.
One ball.
And in baseball, use what? One ball.
Right.
Basketball, one ball.
Right.
Hockey, one puck. Right? They don't use different pucks. But point is, football should use one ball. Tennis, they use one regulation ball. That's it. Cricket, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
One regulation ball.
Football had
and by the way, the guy who throws the ball or pitches the ball in cricket, he's known as a bowler.
Okay, I didn't know that.
He bowls the ball.
Okay,
about a round of applause
very
for
good.
that.
I'm a step ahead of you. So the thing is, another reason that maybe they switch the ball out in football is because by kicking the ball all game long, you're scuffing the ball
up. Maybe, or you're warping it.
Yeah, which makes it, more difficult to throw or easier to catch.
No, it would make it more difficult because you'd warp the ball.
Okay.
It's the same thing when you're driving your car, you press your brakes down, you slam your brakes down, you're putting basically a groove in your rotors.
Okay.
And that's why your car will pulsate sometimes afterwards, and you'll feel like, oh, wow, what's that? What's wrong with my brakes? Well, the fact is you just put a groove inside your rotor, and it's not – what are you doing? You're waving an airplane in? Jeez, dude, you're killing me over here.
Don't worry.
Well, we need those lighted things, those lighted wands for you. This guy over here.
One time.
Mercy.
One time.
All right, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes on Place Your Bet. Make sure you go to placeyourbet.vegas. Check us out. Check out three characters, Tommy T, myself, Sal the Bookmaker, and the Pile of Money. Don't go anywhere.
Twice.
That's
Twice
funny.
in the last 5 minutes.
Hey, check the score.
Twice. It's 70. It was up. They were down by 11. Twice in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, they lost by 11.
That's fine. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that.
I'm not saying that. I wasn't planning on going back there anyway.
No.
But twice in the last 5 minutes, you were talking. You said, "What are you doing?" You know what I want to do though? I want to get the baby crying on our board.
Oh, there's a better one here. I got one.
I'm sure there is, but
I
I'm
know
just saying
one
for the future.
No, but I know one. Here. Watch out. Go open up a YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I had. That's why I got the video.
Yeah, open up a YouTube, and then just put crying baby sound. Yeah. All right, I know which one. That one right there. Yeah, that one's perfect. Bookmark that. Just hit the star. There you go. That's the one you want. That one's great.
I love that.
Yeah, I use that every now and then. All right. I'll take you through the hall. Hey, Lisa. Yes, even on air. I have to do it. All right. You want the air on? You want me to kill it? Hey, Sunad, you want the air on? You want this off?
Yeah, kill it.
All right.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, it's at 63. All right, it's on its way down. There you go. All right.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah,
Schmidt.
so I got through this. I got this down now.
Yeah, you
right?
got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Nate
this
Schmidt
down.
fell.
What's that?
I said Schmitzicle fell. Hey, we got to put the microphone in front of him. Actually, when I put the mic in front of him, the problem is it makes it a narrow for me to get a better shot. There we go. All right. Yes. There. All right. All right. Whew.
That baby crying is hilarious.
Oh, isn't it?
That baby crying.
Oh, I like that one.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of crybabies in sports, and we can use that. I'm sorry, it's funny.
Yep. Oh, it is.
I love it.
I used to piss people off using that one. They're like, what the fuck you doing? Why are you using that one? You know, why do you have to keep playing that one? And blah, 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 blah.
We're on Sports Circus?
Yeah.
You did that? Yeah.
Yeah, Lenny used to get pissed off at me because I use it all the time. When he was saying something stupid, I would play that one, and I'd let it go and go and go.
Listen, you better have a sense of humor if you're going to do the show with you, because you're fucking... Like, I was trying to play the baby cry, because I know that Stevie Wonder song's perfect.
I know, but you're playing Stevie Wonder. I want to hear, what the fuck you playing Stevie Wonder for? Play the fucking baby. I want to hear the baby. Now we got a good baby one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the baby one's funny.
So where's the baby crying?
Love that laugh. Yeah, today's show with Warren Brewster was really good. It was funny, but he had a really good Pete Rose story. Yeah, all right, here we go. Coming back.
You did? A Pete Rose story?
It's a funny Pete Rose story. Yeah, I can say it. I can paraphrase it, whatever.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Okay, there we go. Welcome back to Place Your Bet, everybody. Tommy T and Sal the Bookmaker are still here.
And this segment is brought to you by the American Business Trust Company. Helping you with business strategy, sales and marketing, capital resources, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide, Sal. Yes. You bring the idea, and the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. Visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRCO.com. Or call 657-600-1876. That's 657-600-1876. The American Business Trust Company. 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. Yes! Yes!
It's like throwing a bowling ball. You never forget.
Yeah, no, it's just once you get back on it, it's fun.
And you tore your thumb open on the first ball.
First ball, I tore my thumb open. The rest of the time, I was in agony, but it was fun.
But you're also throwing a 14-pound ball.
Well, what am I supposed to throw?
16.
Why? Why do I got to throw 16?
Because 16. That's the right one.
It's the 16 was too big. I couldn't get a control. I couldn't spin it. The 14 was better. I was looking for an 11.
What do you mean you couldn't spin it?
You were spinning yours.
I don't spin it. It's just a general. I come out of the ball properly, and you get a nice release. You get a nice hook. You get the right rotations, and that's it.
Well, it was hooking. Mine wasn't hooking. Mine was straight.
Well, and that's why you left so many 5 pins. You notice how many 5 pins you left? The one right in the middle?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're not driving through the pins. That's why.
Yeah. Well,
I wasn't leaving those. I left, I think, one when I.
But I got to tell you though, in the 3 games, I hit the 1 pin more than I've ever hit the 1 pin. Not in the pocket. I was hitting it straight on too many times.
When we went to hit baseballs, you did well as well.
Oh yeah, well that's my game. I mean, I grew up, baseball's my game. Bowling's not my game. I mean, even though I'm from bowling country,
right?
I mean,
once they're into the winter time,
we used to get snow days. One year we got snowed out for an entire week of school. Entire week. So we were at the bowling alley every day.
It's 25 degrees below zero in Chicago right now.
Unbelievable.
25 below. And our school, it was the only school in the area that would never get called for a snow day or a cold day. I think one time in the history that I was going there in 3.5 years that I went, and one time in 8 or 10 years it was actually canceled. And now with the wind, it's like 55 below zero, 60 below zero right now.
Well, do you know what forced them to make a snow day or to cancel the school? Isn't the actual weather, it's the buses. The buses getting through the snow. If the buses can't get through the snow.
Yeah, but this isn't snow. I'm talking about cold day.
Yeah, cold. So right now, in the Rome that was built in a
day. That's not so bad.
-2. Get the hell out of here.
Do Oak Park, Illinois.
Oak Park, Illinois, coming right up.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
If I only knew how to do that.
-2 in Rome, New York. The Rome that was built in a day. Let's see what it is in Oak Park.
Oak Park.
Zip code 60302. 60304.
Yeah, look, we're not gonna put a zip code in. It's Oak Park is Oak Park.
Dude,
good enough.
Just find it on the computer. What are you doing?
-14.
-14. Oh, it's sweltering.
Yeah, well, it's a balmy -2 in Rome.
Right. Well, -14 is not so bad. It was -24 earlier.
Look, I've been out.
It's warm. It's heating up.
I've been out of Rome for 32 years, and when I wake up, I still look at the Rome temperature and go.
When you're in the bathroom?
No, when I wake up, I go,
in the bathroom? That's what it sounded like.
Well, right now, it's 56 in L.A., and it's 53 in Vegas.
And the weather report brought to you by Tommy T.
Tommy T. That's all I know. That's all I got.
All right.
That's all I got. Hey, so you had an ex-player on your earlier show today. You had Warren Brewster.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Warren Brewster, he was a Philadelphia Phillies World Series winner in 1980, and he also played for the White Sox and the Cubs.
Was he related to that Brewster's Millions movie? Was it modeled after him?
That was a great movie.
Brewster's
That's still one of my favorite movies.
Richard Pryor, right?
Love that movie.
Right? He was spending money like there
Love
was
that
no
movie.
tomorrow.
The palette of cash. It kind of reminded me of what Obama gave to the foreign countries, the pallets of cash. But nonetheless, that was really funny. I love Brewster's Millions.
Yeah.
But so I had, Warren Brewster came on the show today. A lot of good information, but he had a funny story about Pete Rose.
Oh, let's hear it. I want to hear that.
Right, and it was just, I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. So, So Pete Rose was at the plate, and there was, the bases were loaded. And so, he had him down he was down on the count, behind the count, and then he worked the count, back into 2-2. And then he ended up getting Pete to chase, because he was a sinker baller. He got him to chase a sinker ball.
Oh, so this is when Pete was still with the Reds, or was he with the Expos?
This was when he was with the Expos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he got him to chase, and so he struck him out on that. And so he saw Pete the next morning before the game started. Right? They were just doing their warm ups or whatever. And so he goes and he waves. He goes, "Hey Pete, hey, how you doing?" And so Pete promptly gave him one of these. And he goes, "What the beep was that you threw at me?" He goes, "Oh, that was a sinker. That was a sinker." He said, "Just to make you feel better, it was a changeup." So Pete threw a bat at him. No, he didn't throw a bat at him. He flipped him off. And don't ever throw that crap at me again. And ironically, they ended up playing together.
Yeah, they won a World Series together, right?
Right.
Pete was actually the missing link to that team because they made it to the NLCS in 76, 77, and 78, and they lost all 3 years. Mm-hmm. So then when Pete got there in 80,
they got over the
World
hump.
Series. Yeah. The Pirates won in 79, but then Pete got him over the hump. Pete was a great player.
Yeah, Pete was a great player.
He was a great player.
But it was funny. But we ended up talking. I had to ask him, I'm like, look, he's a former pitcher, I'm a former pitcher. I said, look, if the pitchers are taking steroids, right? Because we had to talk about the whole steroid thing, and actually the conversation went really well. And so it came down to, look, if a guy like Roger Clemens is taking some kind of performance enhancing to keep himself, just bear with me, keep himself in the game. I'm not saying it because the steroids don't help a pitcher throw the ball harder. It does nothing to their velocity. It just keeps them on the mound and it keeps them in the rotation. And I said, don't you think for a second that those pitchers out there that have been accused of guys like Roger Clemens, I said, Clemens belongs in the Hall without question. There's no way he doesn't belong in there. It's the fact that the steroids that he took or whatever, the performance enhancing, whatever, it basically just kept him on the hill. It didn't help him in any other way. Hold on, I'm on a roll. And so then he goes, the guys when I was playing, he said, second basemen were 160, 170 pounds. But he said all the way at the end of my career and then into my coaching, because he did a lot of coaching, he said he's seeing second base and middle infielders that are 210, 220, solid muscle. They're huge. And he said, I guarantee you, 70 to 80% of those players were on steroids at that time. Then we talked about the tighter wound baseballs as well. Because I said, look, the fact is we have an era where baseballs now are wound tighter. So this way there's less focus on steroids and performance enhancement, but there's more focus on people hitting a home run, right? And so we have a lot of that home run ball out there. And now instead of only the big, strong guys that are taking steroids can do it, now there's a focus on it. Now everybody gets a gold star and everybody can hit a home run because the ball's juiced. And he absolutely agreed with that. I mean, it was really good dialogue. You go back and listen to the podcast on sportscircus.com for today.
First of all, you don't know that steroids can't increase your fastball. You don't know that for sure.
They don't increase it.
It's impossible to say.
They don't increase because the fact is...
It's unquantifiable. We don't know what steroids or performance-enhancing drugs are actually doing for the athlete. You don't know that.
Okay.
All you know is that he's taking them. I mean, there's no scientific data that says it doesn't increase the fastball.
I'm going to give you the data. I'm going to give you the data. I'm going to give you the data.
You're going to give me Sal's data. Go ahead.
I'm giving you the data.
I let you have the floor for a few minutes. So you have to let me respond. You have to let me respond. You have to allow me to respond.
Please respond.
First of all these players taking steroids, Barry Bonds obviously took them. Clemens obviously took them. There's no doubt that he didn't take them. We don't know what the steroids did for him. Maybe it created longevity. Maybe it allowed him to be on the mound every day. We don't know if it allowed him to train harder, if it allowed him to stretch more, if it allowed his muscles to develop more. You can't, there's no way of saying exactly what the steroids did. Now, whether he belongs in the Hall of Fame or not, that's a totally different question. I agree. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame too, just like I believe some of these other guys belong in the Hall of Fame. But what all the steroids have done is it just confuses the voters, because you get some voters that are on their high moral horse, right? And I don't want to vote for them because they mess with the integrity of the game.
Sports writers on top of it.
Of course. Yeah, and it messes with the integrity of the game.
It should be by the coaches and by the players and crap like that. It shouldn't be by writers.
Yeah, and I was looking at the list of writers that voted for this last All-Star induction or Hall of Fame induction, and a lot of them aren't even writing in sports anymore. One of them writes for like the Food Channel. The other one writes. You got to look at them. Another one's writing for a style show. What? They're not even sports writers. If you go down to all the writers that have a Hall of Fame vote, they're not all sports writers, and some of them haven't followed the game in 20 years.
Yet they still get a vote.
It's ridiculous. The voting for
the boo.
The voting for these Hall of Fame is ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't really think that's fair.
No, it's not. But that's why we're getting players voted into the Hall, like Harold Baines, who was a very good player. Was a good player.
Harold's not Hall material.
No,
I like Harold, but Harold is not.
Too.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
And I told you, if there was a Hall of good guys, Harold belongs in it. Yeah. Everybody liked Harold Baines. In fact,
he was a solid 280, 290 hitter, but he wasn't Hall of Fame numbers.
No, and also Jerry Reinsdorf was the head of that Veterans Committee, so Jerry Reinsdorf has loved Harold Baines for many, many years, so he pushed for Baines to get in. There's a lot of guys that are in the Hall based on a lot of the same criteria, that they had a lot of good friends and they were well-liked. Jeez, I mean, if you're just going to put well-liked guys in there, then get Ty Cobb out.
Right. I know nobody liked that guy.
Get some of these other guys out there. Right. I don't know if Enos Slaughter's in there, but a lot of these guys.
Well, I would put Ruben Sierra in over Harold Baines.
Ruben High Sierra, yeah, he was a great player, but his career was a little shorter. It was actually a lot shorter than Harold's.
But he was an impact player, though.
He was a great player for especially the Texas Rangers.
Okay, so let me go back to this. All right, now you're talking about, we don't know, you can't quantify if a pitcher is doing X, Y, or Z. Well, here's how you can quantify it. You can take his velocity. Now, I know I've been through this rodeo as a ball player myself. You take their velocity, you can average the velocity. If you take it over time, maybe it's gonna fall off by a small percentage every year, blah, 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 until you peak. And then after your peak years, then you're gonna drop off maybe 3%, 4%, whatever it is. All right. So maybe Clemens, after, we'll call it 10, 12 years, because he came up in 1985, right? we'll say in 1996, 11 years later, maybe he lost 3% or 4% off his fastball. Now, just bear with me. If the steroids that he took in the mid 90s, hypothetically, that would have maintained his velocity, unless he's an anomaly like Nolan Ryan, right? Throwing 20 years at 100 plus. The fact is,
or Verlander continuing to throw at 97, 98 miles an hour in the 8th inning now.
Right. Okay, so there are some guys that are outliers, and you never know. Sometimes they just have those God-given arms. But the fact is, your arm can only throw so hard. That's why when you're going through the June draft, and we had this conversation earlier, when you go through the June draft, have you ever done this? I'll tell you how it works if you haven't. Yeah? No?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The June draft.
What?
The June draft.
Okay, yeah. You mean the baseball draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you participated in it?
No.
Okay, I have, and I'll tell you how it works.
But wait, what happened to Clemens and the steroids helping him?
I'm telling you.
Because we're going to Oklahoma for the answer now. You know that.
I'm going to Timbuktu.
Okay,
don't worry about it. And we're going to stop in Timbuktu 3. All right, so the fact is, for the first thing they test your running ability. They got to do a 60-yard sprint. Why? I don't know. It's just the way it was always done. Then they test your throwing ability. First of all, if you don't have big league speed, you don't even get to the throwing piece of it. Period. This is how it's been for decades.
Is that the amateur draft? That's not the draft with the college players and all those guys, right?
This is basically if you want to be a walk-on on a team.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so my point is, so they test your running speed, then they test your throwing ability, because these are things they really can't teach you, right? And then after that, then they test your ability for situational play, right? And then, last but not least, they test your hitting. A, they could teach you hitting. B, they could teach you fielding and situational play. They can't teach you the other two. So back to the Roger Clemens thing. Clemens has the God-given arm, right? And he has this incredible arm, blah, blah, blah. All right, so if anything, it basically kept his steroids. Are you done? And then there were crickets.
Just get to
the point is, really, just knock it off, mister.
Boy, come on, a little fun.
Jeez.
Just get to the.
All right, so the fact is, when you have a guy with a great arm, and let's just say he drops off just a touch, and that means he's got to recover a little bit longer. He sits on the bench a little longer. Maybe he goes from a 4 rotation to 5 rotation. He needs an extra day. Well, the steroids could help him possibly get out there in the 4th day. It's not going to increase his velocity.
Time. Okay.
It won't increase his velocity.
Listen,
only the recovery time.
You're making it. That's a valid argument. I understand when you're talking about
that's where I was going. So we went back and forth to Oak City.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So it's a valid argument, but there's still no guarantee, though. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and that's
extremely valid.
It's based on logic. It's based on numbers, and I get what you're saying that you don't necessarily add 5 miles an hour. And Clemens didn't add 5 miles an hour to his fastball.
Not at all. It was consistent.
And I firmly believe that the way that baseball players get the full benefit of steroids is because the game is such a brutal game in terms of day to day, especially a player like Barry Bonds or some of the recovery aspect of it. Like you get worn down in a season, but when you're on steroids or these really these synthetic PEDs.
And now they're taking all the HGH.
Yeah, so I think that what they were doing is they were having remarkable recovery time. Mm-hmm. Like, so when Bonds was maybe hitting, 5 home runs a week, maybe he's recovering better. Now he's hitting 10 home runs a week because he doubled his home run numbers there for a 5 or 6 year period. Right. So I think that's where they were getting the big benefit of it is just the recovery time. And they were able to work out harder.
Okay,
right?
well, let's hold that thought for a second. So everybody listen. All you people that take HGH out there, I'm going to make this quick. The HGH is doing one thing. It's tricking your brain to think that your body is 25 and you could build muscle again. The problem is you're working as hard as when you were 25, but your heart is not 25 years old. It's 55 years old. That's why people are keeling over and having heart attacks and dying from taking the HGH. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We don't take HGH. No. We don't take PEDs. I mean, I was in my yoga class today, a 45-minute express yoga. I don't need that stuff. You got on the bowling alley today, and you were throwing the ball like you were 25 years ago. We don't need it, and I don't think people need the steroids.
I don't think they need it either.
I don't think they need it. I think a healthy diet and some decent exercise, and you can maintain.
Right, stay active.
Yeah, you can maintain yourself. So. We're gonna stay active during this break, and we're gonna do a little calisthenics.
All right, folks. Thanks for staying with us here, and we're gonna come back in just a couple of minutes. Make sure you go to placeyourbet.vegas and go to our iHeartRADIO podcast. Yes, we're here on iHeart as well as KSHP 1400. Back in a couple.
Nothing for calisthenics?
No.
Calisthenics.
Calisthenics.
That was good. That was a good segment. It was a really good segment.
Good information.
Yeah, it was a really good segment.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I was disagreeing, but you were making points I couldn't really fucking...
It's hard to combat because he didn't have a velocity increase. It's hard to combat that.
But the thing is, though, putting the snoring thing in the middle of that, whatever, Bo, it was a long explanation.
It's okay,
You're
man.
like, what are you doing? What are you fucking doing?
Don't worry about that.
It was a good one, right?
Yeah.
I got a couple good ones in there today.
I know.
Snoring and the baby crying.
Yeah, it's all about manhole covers. Throwing them out. Yes.
Yeah, right. That's one of the best lines ever, right?
Yeah, I forget who said that one. I heard that one a long time ago. It's so funny, but I forgot about it.
What?
Throwing out compliments like manhole covers.
Well,
that's
when I first
30 years ago someone said that.
I put it on compliments, but when I first heard it,
you got to credit somebody. Yeah.
When I first heard it, it was Whitey Herzog said it about someone he tips like he's tipping like manhole covers.
Right.
So I put it to compliments. I just switched it to compliments.
Right. Well, somebody once,
the first one I ever heard that.
Somebody said that actually. I was talking to Steve about that earlier, Statmaster Steve, and I said, the funniest thing Tommy told me so far in the time that I've known him is that I throw compliments out like manhole covers. And he goes, somebody said, I know. He goes, somebody said that a long time ago. We were talking about that. I'm like,
heard Whitey Herzog say that.
But it was just it's fucking funny,
back in the
man.
early '80s.
That's some funny stuff.
It's great.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
And we keep that. You just keep it under wraps. You bring it out every now and then.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know.
You got the Kelly thing.
Yeah. I don't need it, but I like it.
Yeah. No,
I like to have it here. All right. And thanks for watching us on Facebook Live. All right. Our music's coming on and.
Okay, so let's
coming
back
back in 30
to
seconds.
Talk
That's
a little
fine.
bit, right, about
well, whatever. Yeah. Okay by me. All right. Let me put my headphones on.
That's great, Phil, that you at least you allow me to say you're going to Oklahoma for the explanation here. You're like, I'm going to Timbuktu. Like it's the least.
And to Timbuktu.
I asked my Google assistant how far Timbuktu was. It's 6,600 miles.
Yeah. What about Timbuktu? All right, here we go. All right, folks. Welcome back to Place Your Bet. I'm Sal the Bookmaker. This segment is brought to you by Kelly Vegas, helping people just like you create and host your very own TV, radio, and multimedia talk show. Kelly Vegas can help you with everything you need to get out of sitting on hours of traffic every day and host your very own talk show in your very own studio. Call Kelly Vegas right now at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119, or visit them at CaliVegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com, and tell them Place Your Bet sent you.
Very good.
Hold on. Also, a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRADIO and our station right here. What are you doing, man? 1400 KSHP right here in Las Vegas, and everybody watching on Facebook Live. I want a big special shout out to I don't know if he's really a friend of Place Your Bet or the Sports Circus, by the way. That would be a guy by the name of Andy Kolb. Andy Kolb.
Kolb?
Yeah, Kolb. Like I got a cold, but with a B. I caught a Kolb.
Kolb, okay.
Yeah.
Because there was the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Kevin.
Not
it's
Kevin
spelled
Kolb.
but it was pronounced Cobb.
Yeah, not this guy.
So this guy's Kolb, right?
He's cold.
Okay. Well, we also got to give a special shout out to our loyal listener, Luther.
Right.
Triple L, right? Loyal listener, Luther.
And loyal listener, Lisa, as well.
Loyal listener, Lisa. She listens every day? That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Listens, watchings every day, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's awesome. So, okay, you know what? Because Lisa's listening and she's a big supporter, Lisa, you get your first gong of approval since we started the show on November 5th. And now, if she's rolling her eyes,
what the hell
around
is that?
the corner.
Right.
Right?
Oh, yeah, since we have the range of the parking lot, yeah, that's about right.
Okay. Hey, so let me ask you something. I want to switch to the Super Bowl, which, it's Super Bowl week. It's the third day.
Drooper Droll. That's what Steve said it was. Remember in that commercial?
The Drooper. Yeah, that was great. The Drooper Droll. Yeah.
Yeah. It rhymes with Super Bowl, but we can't say it or whatever.
Yeah. So do you really believe that Sean McVay and Bill Belichick have been texting each other during the year? Because some of this stuff, the BS meter, you have your concern meter, which like measures 0.
Right.
The BS meter measures 100 on some of this stuff. I mean,
Okay.
come on. I mean, do you believe this or no?
Is it it's a news story, I suppose.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, where does it fall on your concern meter?
0.
Okay.
Right. I got to tell you, it has 0 effect in my world.
Okay.
Why the hell would I care
It's just-
about a couple of clowns texting each other? Who gives a damn?
These stories, they come out. These stories.
The other Roger Goodell.
He came out of his cave. He was hiding in Osama bin Laden's cave for the last 10 days. He came out of his cave and he addressed the...
That was the one wallpapered with money, right?
Yeah. He addressed the 500-pound pink elephant.
Yeah.
Right, in Atlanta.
Unlike your pink bowling ball.
Yeah, I couldn't find a pink one. I had a yellow one? I had a yellow one, right? Yeah. Tommy T's got a 14-pound yellow bowling ball.
But you're looking for the pink one.
I should have quit after that first strike. My first ball.
I know
strike,
you were perfect. You should have just went home. Call it a day.
But I did have 5 strikes the first game in the midst of a.
Did you make any spares in the first game?
No, I did. I did strike spare. I did strike spare, open frame spare strike. I started out really good.
Yeah, I know.
The first game was good.
I know. I was panicking for a minute. No.
Yeah, but Sal would roll the ball and then turn around. He just roll the ball. I don't even look at the because he would know where it was so irritating. He would roll the ball and turn around and walk back. Okay, really? You know exactly where the ball's going? Okay, moving on. So we have a couple stories coming out of Super Bowl week. And a big story is Rob Gronkowski. It seems like the media, they're taking some pot shots at him without really trying. They keep talking about his beat-up body. And they keep talking about him being at the end of the line. Now, he's 29 years old. He's going to be 30 at the beginning of next year.
Right.
I mean, he's not really old. 29 years old isn't old. I mean, Tony Gonzalez played till he was 37 or 38, effectively. Now Gronkowski has endured a lot of injuries, and I guess he's lost the step. But who among us has
when this guy, listen, when the chips are down, this guy shows up to play no matter what. And let me tell you something smart about this guy. A lot of people in the NFL, a lot of the players, what do? They burn through their money, right? Gronk doesn't do that. He's saved everything. He only lives off his endorsements. Give him a big round of applause. He's a smart guy. Even Cousins, another smart guy. He keeps his money. I mean, they live because they don't know. They don't know how long the careers are going to last. They're doing it right.
It's a very finite
Nobody
career.
knows, right? It's not guaranteed money.
Yeah.
But these guys have saved their paychecks. They have not been stupid with it. And these are the guys that some of these other clowns that are blowing all their money that end up broke with hundreds of millions of dollars, they ought to be listening to guys like Gronk.
Well, first of all, those clowns are becoming far and far less around the NFL. The guys are taking care of their money a lot better. But Gronk, you're talking about Gronk a few years ago came out and said that he's been living off of all of his ancillary income.
That's right, all the endorsements and whatever.
Yeah,
he's a smart guy with that. Yeah,
he hasn't spent any of his NFL paychecks.
Right,
fantastic.
There's quite a few guys out there that are doing the same thing.
Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
We like that. The thing is this. Listen, I like when guys come in the league and make the big money, because Chris Rock had the great line many, many years ago in one of his stand-up bits. He said, Shaq is rich. The guy who pays Shaq is wealthy. It's a great line. There's a difference between being rich and wealthy, and it's just a joke. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it's true, but I love it when these guys come into the league and they grab some of that money and they don't blow through it. They don't. I mean, Allen Iverson, he had a...
He's one of the worst examples of spending or blowing money
first of all,
in the history of sports.
His career was a lot shorter than he expected it to be.
Right.
I mean, he was great for about 8 or 9 or 10 years, and it was like a guillotine.
And he was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guillotine just came down. Boom. He was great no more. All of a sudden, one day, he wasn't great.
Yeah.
They traded him to Denver. They traded him to Detroit. And then he ended up in Memphis for a day.
I have some really interesting Iverson stories I can't talk about here.
Yeah, I have some too.
Guys
I hung around Iverson for a while. In
guys
LA too.
that played with him on an everyday basis. I heard the stories.
Yeah,
we don't want to slander anybody in here, so we're just going to leave it be.
No, and listen, we always enjoyed his competitive spirit. He was an amazing competitor. He wasn't 6 foot. I don't think he was 6 foot. He was listed at 6 foot. More out of that 6 foot frame than anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but. The thing was, toward the end of his career, he had a girlfriend and he was flying her around in a private jet.
But
he was taking her on these big.
What does that sound like?
Shopping sprees.
Remember, listen. What do I always say? As soon as the girl gets involved, it screws everything up. I was so happy when Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick got together. I'm like, thank God. And this was at the beginning of the season. I said the Bears are going to win this division because Rodgers just complicated his life. It's over. And number one. He's got the girl, but what's worse is she's a perennial loser. She's never won anything. I said, well, how perfect for the Bears fans. And for the Bears fans, they deserve a big round of applause because they got to hear this from, bingo, they got to hear this from your ringmaster Sal over on the Sports Circus. And I got to tell you, it was a happy day when she got involved with him.
She wasn't the first celebrity girlfriend he had.
No, I know.
Before her was another one that, so he's been dealing with the celebrity girls for a while. I don't think Danica Patrick, I don't think he's played poorly since he's been dating her, but unless she's a jinx.
She's a host.
Unless she's a mush.
She's Eddie Mush. It's Eddie Mush's daughter.
She's Danica Mush.
Right.
Danica Mush. That's
exactly.
So bad.
Eddie Mush's daughter. It's all over. Danica, you're out of here.
Is he still with Danica?
Yeah.
Really? How?
Yeah, so they can have 14 kids.
How do we know?
Because that's what the media says.
How do we know?
I don't know nothing. I don't know. And again, my concern meter is on 0.
I love it. Yeah, listen, you brought it up, though. But you're right, though. As a Bears fan, you're like, wait a minute. Rodgers is dating who?
What could be better?
He's dating Danica?
A lifetime loser. Yes! Exactly.
How many polls did she get in NASCAR?
Oh, she had 2 polls.
Okay.
Right? She had 2 polls, but the thing is, she crashed 96% of her races. Crashed. She didn't even finish. I mean, crashed the cars. How do you think GoDaddy felt? I do business with GoDaddy, and I got pissed because, and I even told him one time, look, I'm paying you guys money to host my websites and all this other crap. And so I'm like, GoDaddy, can't we get a better sponsor out there in the NASCAR world?
But
because I want to see the car finish.
Great ass.
I want to see the car finish.
You got your head all the way up it.
I want to see that car finish because it's good for GoDaddy, and I know I'm getting my bang for my buck. Now, let's face it, Aaron's getting his bang for his buck, I suppose.
For your buck. You really had to put that in there.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Talk about a Freudian slip. Sal doesn't normally do that.
Hey,
okay,
don't worry about that.
Okay. So
why'd you put that to your neck? How come you didn't put it to your head?
It blew my head off.
Blew my head off, right? You blew your neck off.
What are some of the Super Bowl week items that are coming out that are fascinating you thus far? Because the Gronk thing was a big thing, and then we talked yesterday about the backup cornerback who was criticizing Tom Brady.
Right. Oh, that was so ridiculous.
Nikel Roby, whatever. He's got a third name.
What an idiot.
He added a third name in there. We don't know his third name. Nikel Roby's going to have to do. It's going to have to be suffice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Whatever his name is, it doesn't matter. The fact
I got to tell you,
this guy opening his mouth, and it's just a big media ploy because Brady gets all the attention. Let's face it, the guy's been in 9. It's his 9th.
9th, yes.
Right, and he deserves it.
Well, the last Super Bowl he didn't make, he lost in Denver to Von Miller and that great Denver defense, but he lost 20-18. He drove New England down the field for a last-second touchdown, and then they had a 2-point conversion where Gronkowski was tackled in the end zone. So, I mean, even when you beat him, you barely beat him in the playoffs.
Right.
He's just not an easy guy to beat.
Right.
It's just they're amazing how they keep coming back. The thing is, this guy Goff, he's done a pretty good job. We can't really critique.
He's serviceable.
Goff. He's serviceable.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little better than serviceable. I'd say the meters are slightly better.
Well, he's got some great weapons too. So I would say he is
some of his
probably
weapons have
above
been diminished, though. He lost Cooper Kupp in the middle of the year, who was one of his best receivers.
Yeah, that was his go-to guy.
And also, Gurley's not 100%. I think that's the biggest issue with this Super Bowl. You give. Did I say something wrong?
No.
You just reset it. You give Gurley the ball 7 times in NFC Championship game, and you can't tell me he's not injured. You can't come after the game and go, oh, no, he was fine. It just worked out that way. You're talking about the most dynamic runner in football along the same lines as Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley, right? You're giving them the ball 7 times.
He's better than both of those guys.
When he's healthy, yeah.
He's the best in the business right now.
He's the best in the business. So when you give him the ball 7 times in a championship game, you cannot tell me he's not injured and expect me to believe it. Look, I mean, there's no way that Gurley's not injured. I'm not saying, maybe a couple
it'll
weeks.
come out afterwards. You know when it'll come out?
Yes.
If they lose the game.
Yeah.
Well, Gurley was playing with a torn this or a broken this or whatever.
My prediction is that Gurley's going to have some type of surgery after the season. I'm not saying it's a major knee surgery, but he's
that's not a revelation.
He's
this is
some
where
type
it's
of
going.
arthroscopic surgery when the season's over.
Sure.
Remember a few years ago when Marshall Faulk missed not LaDainian Tomlinson. LaDainian Tomlinson missed a big playoff game for the Chargers a few years ago when he was at the top of his game.
Right.
And after that game, Deion Sanders said he better have surgery in the offseason. He goes, if you miss a playoff game and you don't have surgery in the offseason, something's wrong. He threatened the poor guy. Right. And he didn't have surgery in the offseason.
Well, hey, listen, not every injury warrants a surgery.
Right.
Surgery is the last possible choice. And I tell people I know this all the time. No surgery unless you have to have it.
Well, I had that.
You never get cut.
I had that serious back injury a couple of years ago. I had the 2 herniated discs, the L4 and the L5.
Yep.
The L5 was herniated 10 millimeters. I couldn't stand up. I saw the best orthopedic surgeons in Los Angeles, and I was going to have surgery from the doctor at UCLA, and all of a sudden the inflammation went down a little bit where the nerve, it let up on the nerve, and I decided against surgery. I just went a whole core rehab, and the nerve slowly regenerated. But I didn't want to have back surgery, even though it wasn't a serious surgery.
I had back surgery. It's not
So
fun.
you had that. Was it a discectomy?
Oh, no. I had exploratory surgery.
Exploratory. Well, okay. Sal's taking his shirt off in the studio.
I got an 8-inch scar on my
really?
side.
Okay, so you went through back surgery. I avoided it. That's why I got into the Pilates and the yoga hardcore, because I tried to strengthen every muscle around there so I wouldn't have a surgery.
Yeah. I mean, I still have the pinched nerve. It still stays there. You know, it is what it is. And you work through it.
Our listeners are out there right now going, our concern meter's on 0.
Don't worry about it. You're here. You're stuck with us for a few more minutes. Get over it. What do? We pick winners. That's why we're listening. That's why we're listening to each other. That's why you're listening to us. And by the way, just for your own record, and we didn't give them, we had 5 winners today at the sportsbook. We just didn't give them because it was too early. We couldn't. We weren't on air.
We weren't, but we didn't even go there to pick games.
No, it wasn't about that.
But you know what? The
5 winners. That's it.
The funny thing is, though, we're standing there.
We didn't pick every game.
We're in the middle of the sports book. We're looking at the board. We're talking. We're looking at the board. You know, there wasn't really an agenda. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. There was no agenda. And as we're looking, games are jumping out at you. This game, that game, that game. I mean, you pull out George Washington and Fordham. You say Fordham smells. Okay, how do you know?
It's the easiest pick because I know these teams. Know. It was the easiest pick on the board tonight.
So that game jumped out at you. Another game jumped out at you. Another game jumped
Villanova jumped out at me. I was like, Villanova.
All right.
DePaul doesn't even belong on the court with Villanova.
I'm looking. There's a game that jumped out at me. Denver over New Orleans. New Orleans played last night in Houston. You know how I follow these teams on the road?
Right.
I can get into a team's head, and I can figure out where they're at coming off a big win.
How in the world were the Bulls only +6? Or I'm sorry, plus
in Miami.
Yeah, whatever. In Miami. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The line should have been 20. And the Bull, I was like, no, something stinks in Happyville. And there it was. The Bulls end up pulling away. They won by about 20.
Well, Dallas was -3 in New York.
Right.
And the Mavericks blew them out.
Yeah, and I had that's right. I had the Mavs. I'm like, how the hell the Mavs how are they only 3 in New York, which is possibly the worst team in basketball?
But the thing I like about it isn't just picking the games. We walked in the middle of the sportsbook. You dropped a bowling ball. You have a bowling ball bag because you had a bowling ball for 25 years.
Yeah.
One of the good things we talked about.
My brother got it for me.
One of the good things about having a bowling ball and bowling shoes is they never go out of style. 25 years, they're still in style. It's great, right? So you dropped the bowling ball bag there. We're standing in the middle of sportsbook. We're looking at the board, and it's kind of like our second home.
Yeah.
It's just, okay.
Yeah, hey, watch this. I'll be right back. And what do we do? Walk over to the dice table.
Sal walks over to the dice table. You know what you did? We walked over to the dice table. You see a mush shooting dice.
Yeah.
How do you know he's a mush? You could just tell. You could just tell. Give me $10 in the DC that don't come.
That's right.
2 rolls later, Sal's got $20. Okay, let's go.
It's ridiculous.
Stupid.
You know, I mean, it's like, when folks, every time you go to the casino, I'm going to leave you with this one at the dice table. I used to follow people around at the dice table. What the hell are you doing over there? You're doing the YMCA? And so I followed people around the dice table that would literally snap their fingers when the dice were turning. Because I found those people as being the biggest losers on earth.
Those guys have never had a hot roll in their life.
One guy...
They shoot the dice.
One guy
Come on,
in 35 years in my life, I've seen one guy at the frontier have a hand. But I follow these guys around the casino, and they lose and lose and lose. It's the best thing ever. I literally just look for those people snapping their fingers, and I bet against them.
And to fill everyone in the background of that, the snapping of the fingers is usually the guys that play dice on the street.
Yeah,
that's how they play on the street. There's a lot of like body language as you shoot the dice, and they do that. They do that in the casino on the strip, but it doesn't work. It's never worked in the history of the strip. Never. If you want a 45-minute roll, it's not going to come with that guy.
If you want to make money for 45 minutes, follow that guy around for 45 minutes.
Just bet against
him.
And
just keep betting against him.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
folks, make sure you go to placeyourbet.vegas. Check us out. Tommy T, myself, Sal the Bookmaker. The pile of money keeps growing, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on your favorite channel. A big welcome, or a big hello, and thank you for everybody listening in on iHeart and KSHP 1400 and Facebook. We'll see you next time. So long, everyone.
Thank you, buddy.
Finger snappers. Fucking whippersnapper finger snappers. Fucking losers. That always makes me laugh. All right, guys. All right, we're out of here, and we'll see you next time. So long, everyone.